I'm thankful to Dr. Sharma who has invited us in this very, very important workshop. And as far as this Uttarakhand is concerned, Dr. Joshi has already told, we are doing some work on the accounting of ecosystem services as well as the gross environmental produce. So what is our experience? I will share this experience in this slides. Before it, Uttarakhand has a developing economy, and our per capita income is about 1,77,000. It is higher than the nation. Even it is among the 5 states. But there is discrepancies. We have 13 districts, and 2 districts are in the plain area, and about 2.5 districts we can say it is in the plain area, and more than 70% of the GDP is generated by these 2.5 districts, 2 plain districts in the state. So there is a discrepancy. 75% GDP we are getting from the plain districts, but hills have a great potential. We have a great forest. About 60% area of the state covered under forest, and since the inception of the state, the forest was increased 1141 hectare, and we have a very dense and moderately dense forest, open forest, under tree forest. But the population is very less, and as far as the population is concerned, the state has only less than 1% of the share of the country up to total population. Similarly, the geographical area is very less. It is 1.63, but the forest cover is little bit high. It is about 5% share of the total country, and the state has about 1.33 square kilometer forest cover per 1,000 population, while the country has less than half square kilometer per 1,000 population. So we are very good in the forest coverage. Just I am sharing this slide here regarding the state economy. You can see this blue line. This is the primary sector share in the economy, and you can see since the inception of the state, it was in the year 2000, it was 30.10%. 30% share of the primary sector was in our economy, but now drastically it is reduced. You can see now it is 10.50. It means over the years, over the 17 years, it has been reduced by 20%. So primary sector share is drastically decreased. It is an alarming position, because the primary sector is one of the important part of the ecosystem services. And now you can see that what the trend shows. Trend shows after some time it will be about 1%, 2%, something like that. So it is an alarming position. Just to share this slide here. And if we compare the economy with the forestry sector, then I have already mentioned that we have a developing economy. 2,17,609 crore is the total economic size of our state, and only 1.59% is the share of the forestry sector in the GDP. And true value of forest of Uttarakhand is not represented in state GDP also, because the entire gamut of the ecosystem services, we have a potential, innumerable ecosystem services potential we have, and we are giving these services used by the rest of the nation, particularly the downstream of the northern India. गंगा का, यमुना का सारा मिट्टी जो जा रहा है वो नीचे ही उसको हम लोग दे रहे हैं. Thus we think we have to do some work on the, particularly on the natural resource accounting. Especially we have done on the forest resource accounting, and try to create mechanism for preparing the gross environmental produce and valuation of ecosystem services. The GEP's concept is given by Dr. Joshi after the Kedarnath tragedy, as he had already mentioned, and it was appeal to the government also, and even the petition has already been accepted. The decision has already been come. So now we are doing out this work in our state. What is GEP? GDP is nothing. GDP is just like a GDP. I mean, in the GDP already Dr. Sharma in the morning he was mentioned the definition. The value of the goods and services under the boundary of the state. Here we are saying the value and value of the goods and services produced by the generated by the ecosystem. The value of the air, the value of the water, the value of the land, the value of the soil. This is the basically this is the GDP as per our understanding. So it is also the alternative indicator which can be calculated alongside with the GDP to keep track of the natural resource within the governance boundary. So it is also proposed as an indicator which will be measuring the performance of the state on the front of environmental protection and conservation. And I think we are the first state because still there are no estimates has come on these environmental services and on the GEP. So what we are doing, we have done some work on it. These are the accounts we have generated. The ecosystem extent account, where the change in land, what is the land pattern, land use pattern, ecosystem condition account, what is the capacity of the ecosystem, how we will tap it, ecosystem services supply and use accounts, it is very important accounts, supply and use table we have developed, and asset accounts, water heritage stocks and flow accounts, accounting of biodiversity, land accounts and related other accounts. By these accounts we have tried to generate the gross environmental produce. So a lot of work we have done on it, and particularly still we have done the work on the forest resource account. And as Dr. Venkatachalam sir has already told about this system, under the Marine Ecosystem Services framework, there are 4 services: the provisioning, regulatory, cultural and supporting services. And this is the flow chart which we have done in our forest resource account. For the valuation of the forest ecosystem, 2 types of stocks have been developed by the state. One is the capital stock, forest natural capital stock. Another is the flow stock. What is the flow value of the particular ecosystem? So under the capital stock, you can see how much forest land, land assets we have, how much standing timbers we have, what is the total carbon storage is there. And similarly in the flow value, we have calculated the forest goods, annual increment, product of economic forestries, non-wood forest produce from the forest area, and the forest environmental services also we have made some values, the water conservation, soil protection, agriculture and so on. So this is the whole scenario, and this is the framework of the ecosystem services which we have developed and which we have valued. About 22 services we have considered in this exercise. The timber, the stock and flow are the 2 accounts, and the indicators were there. And what is the quantification process? Somewhere is a consumption value, and the valuation with the market price and other methods are also there. It was mentioned by earlier. So these are the things. About 22 indicators, 22 services we have identified, and this is the accounts which we have developed for particular services. These are the things. Timber, fuel wood, fodder, anti-FP, carbon storage, carbon sequestration, recreation, water provisioning, water purification, nutrient cycling, sediment regulation, gene pool, waste assimilation, water provisioning, purification, cycling, nutrient cycling, sediment regulation, gene pool, okay, the pollination, habitat for species, employment generation, and so on. So about 22 economic services we have create the accounts for these services. And final result is this one. In the provisioning services, you can see the value of the fuel wood in the year 2008. We got this data from the FSI, from the working plan division of the forest, from the circle offices of the forest. We take this data from and even some methods we have used the benefit transfer methods for calculating this exercise. Under the fuel wood, about 3,395 crore value of the fuel wood is there, and 7,776 is for fodder. So on. In the timber, 1,243, and TFP is about 303 crore, and employment generation is also one of the important service which we have calculated. It is about 300 crores for particular year. And similarly, in our regulating services, you can see the carbon sequestration about 1,482 crore. The value of the carbon sequestration is 1,482 crore. And the main value you can see the gene pool protection. It is 73,386 crore. So this is completely based on the benefit transfer method, because the data is not available. So whatever studies has already been done at international level, that standards we have applied on it. So in the biological control and pollination, gas regulation, waste assimilation, food regulation, we have calculated this value by the benefit transfer method. So finally we got the result. The total flow value, it is about 95,000 crore, and it is 43.7% of total GDP of the state. And whatever share of the forestry is there, it is 3,000 something crore, and it is only 3.6% of flow value. It means the flow value of particular year from this ecosystem, from this forestry sector, is about 3.6, is more than the GDP generated by the forest. Similarly, the stock value you can see about 13,676 crore stock value of the timber, carbon stock and land is calculated by this process. So this is the total valuation of the ecosystem services in the state of the year 2015-16. So now the point is how we will measure how much forest conservation we have done, how much afforestation has already been done, and what is the impact, what is the performance. So the next step what we have done, we have measured the environmental performance by constructing the sustainable environmental performance index also. So this is one of the unique index. Though many index has already been constructed for performing the environment, but in our state what we have done, the 2014-15 was the base year, and this was the step we have taken. It was a very vast exercise. All the stakeholders has sit together, and finally first they reviewed and analyzing the existing global indicators, global indices, then see the scope of the index and select the sectors and departments related to the sustainable environment performance index, drinking water, soil conservation, urban development, transport, tourism also. So these departments are selected. DIPSR framework identifies suitable indicator for each sectors. And one of the important thing is this: the SDG indicator has already been aligned with the SAPI sectors. Nowadays the SDG is one of the burning topic. Even the NITI Aayog, Government of India, state governments are regularly developing the framework of these SDGs, monitoring framework for these SDGs, implementation framework for these SDGs. So we have tried to align these SDGs. About 10 SDGs we have taken, and 29 targets of these SDGs we have taken, we have aligned for these SAPI sectors. And indicator analysis and feasibility assessment, then data source mapping, from where we will get data, and indicator validation with the state department. The state departments sit together, and then finally we validate these indicators, and finally data collection from the departments. And one of the important issues is the weight, scaling and weight. Scaling, assigning weight and aggregation is one of the important exercise which we have done by the help of the convergence method by the departments, by the expert of the particular department. And finally, institutionalization and mainstreaming. It is important. merely if we will prepare the report, it is not important. Important is how we will institutionalizing it, how we will mainstreaming the whole process. So this is the DIPSA framework. You all know, I think. Next is what are the performance, what are the indicators and dimensions we have taken to develop this particular SEPI, Sustainable Environment Performance Index. The dimensions are the air quality, water and sanitation, water resources, where we have taken the wastewater treatment status also, the agriculture, it is important, pesticide regulation and agriculture subsidies, how much we are giving, particularly for the chemical fertilizer subsidies, what is the pesticide regulation, and change in forest cover, fishery stocks also, biodiversity and habitat, climate change, health aspects also we have taken under for this SEPI. The air quality and pollution, water quality and availability, land use and agriculture, forest and biodiversity, and similarly waste generation, energy management, environment budget, population pressure on ecosystem, and so on. And these are the SDGs targets which were aligned with this SEPI. This is final result. The weightage, 8th sector I have, the forest and biodiversity is one of the important sector. The weight was given 26% to this particular sector. And the water and sanitation is another sector. The weight was 13.4. Human health in number F, 14.55% weight has given for the human health and air quality. Energy, 12.6%. And disaster risk is also one of the sector. It is very important sector in vulnerability. So 9% weight has assigned for particular sector. Similarly, the tourism and education and the agriculture, horticulture and animal husbandry has also considered for this SEPI, and waste management has 11.9% weight. So after giving this weight, then we have identified the indicators for particular sectors. And you can see in the forest and biodiversity sector, about 50 indicators have been identified. Even the man-animal conflict, you can see, it is very important indicator for the ecosystem. Ecosystem. So man-animal conflict, death, livestock death, crop damaged, and house damage also. The weight has already been given to particular sector also. So these are the 15 indicators for particular sector. And similarly, in the water and sanitation sector, about 7 indicators have been identified, and weights has given by this convergence method. So similarly, in the energy sector, you can see even how much percentage of households having access of electricity, household using clean fuel for cooking. These are the indicators. Installed community solar cooker till date, solar photo program, what is the status of this particular program. And similarly, in a disaster risk and vulnerability, 13 indicators we have identified. It is also one of the important sector for the Sustainable Environment Performance Index, where we have taken the annual loss of human life due to natural disaster, even the animal life and agricultural land also. Similarly, in the tourism and education sector, 5 indicators identified. Number of ecotourism destination, number of eco clubs in school, number of training for promoting ecotourism courses, and so on. And in the human health and air quality, 7 indicators we have identified, where the prevalence of respiratory disease and percentage of pesticide on global banned list, which is also banned in the state. This is one of the important indicator. And life expectancy, a percentage of urban area under tree cover, it has taken for this SEPI. Similarly, in the waste management, 9 indicators we have taken. And in agriculture and horticulture, 13 indicators we have taken. Final result is this one. In the year 2015-16, what you can see, the indicator, the total performance of the environment is reduced. It is 97%. It is 90. The index is 97. You can see, if we will see the sector-wise, forest and biodiversity, we have done something good, because it is 100.45. In the water and sanitation, some losses are there. Energy, we have done good. Risk and disaster risk and vulnerability, lot of problem is there. 56.82. The index go down. 56.82. In the tourism, we have done something good. In the human health and air quality, you can see we have not done good. The indexes go down. So you can see that if we compare the total value of the 2004, 14, 15 to the 2015, 16, the overall index is reduced. So what is the reason? Then it is good measurement. You can see under this index. Finally, the result was increasing forest fire and loss to animal due to natural disaster are cause of concern. It was one of the findings. And in 2015, the 4,433 hectare of area was affected due to forest fire. That's why the disaster index was go down. Another major priority area is the state of air and water quality, both of which are in decline. These are the major regions. Finally, hope performance measurement will help to make our policy towards the environmental sustainability. And thank you very much.